Good evening. So I wonder how many people are asking themselves, is Watchman blind, deaf, and dumb today? Because every channel on the planet has talked about what the government of China has said to its people. And I'm referring to the stockpiling of goods. And my response to that, nah, clickbait. Now hang on. The reason I say it's clickbait is because on more than one occasion, the Chinese government has told the PLA to get ready for war. So we kind of already were here. We have been here for a long time. So the government coming out again and saying, hey, stockpile food, that's exactly what I look at that as being, is the government again coming out and reminding them to stockpile food. By no means is this a new thing. This has been going on. I've been reporting on it here for, a couple of years now. So this is nothing new. I mean, actually probably over a couple of years, 2 to 3 years. Because it started under Trump at some point. It might have started real shortly after he took office. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's not new. So my whole point with that is don't let yourself be, too distracted or don't get worked up over it. It's, it's a thing, but I think there's a large overreaction to it, considering that, even though many, if not most, of the theories behind why, even though that they're likely true, again, this is something that we've been reporting on for literally years. So anyway, let's step a little beyond that and talk a little bit about this obvious agenda. Man, I'll tell you what. I've read Agenda 21. I've read Agenda 2030. I've read the Patriot Act from front to back. I've read Obamacare from front to back. Both of those I've read multiple times, front to back. I've watched, this one of my frustrations, and once in a while I bring it up, and I should probably bring it up a little more often so people kind of understand my attitude. But, I'm no Johnny-come-lately. I've been paying attention to this stuff for a very, very, very long time. Probably much longer than most people that are reporting on it today even had a clue of any of it. Now, I give all credit to my history teacher in high school. I'm not saying I'm something super special that, no, he's got all the credit. I was a punk-ass kid. I'd have just been a dumb punk-ass kid when it came to what's going on in the world. However, I was a bit of an informed punk-ass kid, if you will. But I kept an eye on things, but I personally didn't see anything super concerning when I was, from that point moving forward until 9/11. And then when 9/11 happened, and I've said this multiple times here, I knew before the end of the evening that something wasn't being, something wasn't as advertised. I'll put it that way. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt what a controlled demolition looks like. And I also know the likelihood of 3 buildings in the same vicinity all falling at free fall speeds into their own footprint. Now, I'm not good enough with numbers to figure out the odds of that, but let's just say that's not what happened. Well, I mean, it's clearly what happened, but I mean, not as advertised. So I knew at that point that, and gosh, I hate to sound like Bush Sr. here, that we were at a critical juncture. And so I started paying very, very close attention right at that moment. I can't say that it was my wake-up moment because I was woke up by my high school teacher. But it was an indicator moment that the times that he was warning me about was beginning. And so I've been watching this unfold in depth since 2001. Not a Johnny-come-lately. And when I say in depth, I mean in depth. So a lot of the stuff that we are starting to see unfold today, you'll hear me reference quite often different programs or operations or this or that and the other thing. And it's because I've kept an eye on this situation for so long that I've already put some of these puzzle pieces together. And just like I've been talking a lot lately about the Viper teams. And if you don't know what that is, please Google it. It's spelled VIPR. There's no E. And, you know, I've been talking quite a bit about the Viper teams because I think they're going to come into play very quick. I think a lot of this stuff that I've been warning about for a long time is about to come to a head, and it's all going to come together. And it was designed to. This is not... This whole thing is not something new. Everything that they are putting in place right now has been planned out likely for decades. But I can guarantee you that it's been planned out for over one, at least 2 decades. All they needed was that catalyst. All they needed was that reason to start putting all those pieces into place. And then came along COVID-19. Gave them their excuse. And as I've reminded folks, you know, we were calling out this COVID thing before anybody would admit to it. Even before China would admit to it, before the U.S. would admit to it, before anybody was admitting to it. We were telling you to keep an eye on this. And I said back then that I didn't know if this was going to be something seriously for us to be concerned about with our health. But I had a sneaky suspicion that we damn well had something to worry about when it came to our freedom. And you can go back and look. That's all a matter of record, if you will, right here on YouTube. Again, I'm not a Johnny-come-lately. And that's why, you know, I don't react to stories like what came out today about China warning the people to stock up food and whatnot. That's why I don't react to it. It's clickbait essentially. This is nothing new. It's just ongoing. And I would tell you to do the same thing. Your government gives such a crap less about you that they're not consistently reminding you to stock up. Remember, they came out and told you to stock up. I believe it was six weeks worth, if I'm not mistaken. Why aren't they continually doing it? Why aren't they telling you to keep stocking up? Look, we know that we're facing an energy crisis. Now, mind you, this could be a completely orchestrated crisis. I understand. In fact, I believe that's probably the case. Nonetheless, for us, a crisis is a crisis. And if, you know, we don't have natural gas flowing through those lines, or, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be a crisis, regardless whether it's orchestrated or something organic. I don't think it's going to be organic, and I think it's planned. And, man, I'm telling you, I really do think that we are at the beginning. I put out a video today, and it's kind of a shame because at the end of the video, I probably said the most important thing. And by the time that part of the video came around, I guarantee you a majority of people clicked off the video. Why? Because I'm not a real big fan myself of just listening to somebody read an article to me. I get it. But after I read the article, I had a few things to say. And, man, I'm telling you, what we are staring at, I do believe we are about to enter tribulation. I firmly believe it. Because everything lines up. And, you know, I know Bear put out a video today, and I'm not ragging on him whatsoever. And he mentioned in his video that, you know, a lot of people, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but since the beginning of time, basically, have been saying this. And I would absolutely wholeheartedly agree. And in fact, because of that, I've gone back and forth countless times to double check my calculations, if you will. Man, there is none any other time in history. There is not any other time in history that this many things have all lined up to Scripture. And what scientifically appears to be a imminent pole shift, which lines up with what the Word says about Revelation. So tell me again what time it is. We are looking at, I don't know, nobody I think really knows. But I would say that we are looking for an event with the pole probably within 10 years. And I could be wrong on that. I'm not sure, you know, exactly the specifics, but it's getting close. And Good Book talks about 7 years of tribulation before the main event, if you will. We're in for some rough times. And I think it's largely going to be orchestrated. I think it's going to be, you know, man-made. It's going to be imposed on us. And I think the things that we have been warned about are about to come to light. I think the abolition of religion, I think that's right around the corner. I really do think that, honestly, I think we're going to see very possibly some false flags that are going to be claimed to be related to religious belief. And I think, this is my opinion, I think that they're going to use that as a reason to say, okay, well, we don't have different religions anymore. I really see that coming. And I think if anybody has a discerning eye whatsoever and have been looking at, you know, what's up with the whole crypto thing and what's up with the different currencies and the trouble the different nations are in and all of that, I think anybody with any bit of a discerning eye at all can see that they're setting up for a one world currency, and it's going to be a digital one. And I think that that can be further confirmed with everything else that they're doing right now, especially with new types of identification that they want for us, right? And I'm referring to the health passes that you know damn well they're going to be hitting us with in this entire country soon enough. And then on top of that, and I will not stop bitching about this, but the real ID. No, thank you. No, thank you. I didn't sign up for an international ID card, and I won't sign up for an international ID card. And if you ever question why I say it's an international ID card, understand something. There are only one of two things that you can even fly on a plane domestically with. And that's either A, passport, or B, a real ID compliant state ID or a driver's license. You have to have one of the two. So, what's funny about that passport? Oh, it's international. It's international. Huh. Nah, no thanks. I'm good. I don't need an international ID. Man, they've been setting up for this for a really long time. And I think folks really need to, I'll steal something from Bear, adjust their OODA loop, and start realizing what it is we're actually looking at here. I think we get so many different things thrown at us and so many different issues thrown at us that sometimes, and I'm not saying that they're not important issues. Most of them absolutely are important issues. But I think what happens is we wind up, our thoughts wind up getting condensed, if you will. And we start to kind of focus in on different areas, and we kind of lose a little bit of sight of the big picture. I think it happens to everybody. It absolutely happens to me. And so, again, it's just important we take that step back and we look at what is happening, not just within our own space, in our own homes, not just within our own towns, counties, states, or even country. But we have to take a really good look around the world at what's going on. And if you do that right now, and I know many of you have, if you do that right now, you see something astonishing. I mean, it's almost like the different countries are synchronized swimmers. And you know what? I don't even see any of the countries that are supposed to have super high tensions in between them in disagreement with each other on any of it. Except for who gets to sell their product to who. That seems to be about the only debate. And I don't know that that's all that important either, to be honest. It's not looking good. And as I had been warning, so far I've continued to be accurate. Today was a hell of a day in the news. There was non-stop craziness all throughout the day. And just when I thought it was about to let up, I get the headline about the COVID vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds. And then it did update not long before the show, and, it's a done deal. But it started out crazy and continued crazy throughout the entire day. I would expect much the same tomorrow. Again, these 2 weeks, these first 2 weeks of November, telling you, they're gonna be insane. Not saying the last 2 weeks are gonna be great, but I think a lot of the shock and awe, if you will, is going to be done in these first 2 weeks. I don't know. All I know is that the answer, and I'll say this again, we'll get to headlines, the answer still stays the same for all of us. Continue to get ready. I I know I cover a lot of stuff here, and I know I'm pretty real about things. But don't get intimidated. Don't allow the stuff I tell you to intimidate you. Use it to motivate you. Use it to have a better understanding of your enemy. And act upon that. Don't let it intimidate you. You know, that's why I'm firm in my belief. Because you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I go out like a light on day one. That's not what's important. Not even remotely what's important. What's important is how I live my life up to that day that I go out. Right up to that last breath. That's all that's important. That's all that's important. Like I said, I would definitely tighten up your bootstraps. But I think it's just getting started. Anyway, let's see. I think I got that out. Had a breaking news while I was talking to you. It's, nothing I need to hurry up and tell you about. I'm working on it.
That's mandatory now, right?
No, not mandatory for the kids yet. No, not mandatory, but hang on. Let me, I do not want to be inaccurate whatsoever with what I say. Here we go. Let me bring you on over here. Okay, so U.S. gives final clearance to COVID-19 shots for kids aged 5 to 11. It just says here the U.S. health officials on Tuesday gave the final sign-off to Pfizer's kid-sized COVID-19 shot, a major expansion of the nation's vaccination campaign. The Food and Drug Administration already authorized the shots for children aged 5 to 11, doses just a third of the amount given to teens and adults, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends who should receive FDA-cleared vaccines. So yeah, this isn't a mandate at all. This is just, I believe, and forgive me if I'm wrong on how I word this, but I believe this is just the emergency authorization. And if I get any of that wrong, my apologies. But I think that this is still under emergency authorization. Even, for the 5 to 11-year-olds, but I could be incorrect on that. It doesn't say, I don't see the word emergency in front of authorization, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just says authorized. So, yeah, but no mandates yet, but again, that's coming. They kind of had to cross this creek before they cross the next one. So now that they've got this one under their belt, so to speak, you can imagine the mandates are going to fly. In fact, I think California already did, and then now that we're at this point, we're going to see the mandates fly as far as other states getting on board. It'll probably start with cities, and then I'm sure go to states. We live in Illinois. I'm absolutely sure that's one that will try to mandate it for the kids for public schools. I'm sure. I'm sure there'll be a handful of states that mandate it. And I'm also equally sure that there will be talk, if not, following through with a national mandate. But so far at this particular time, no mandate. Except for, like I said, California I know is mandated, but that's California. The amazing thing is, and I just got to say this, I just got to say this. California, the only state where everything has to be labeled that could possibly give you cancer, except for the jab. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Prop 65, isn't it? I believe I see on everything. This product has been known. And it's anything, right? Anything. I forget what it was I was buying one time. I saw that and I about died laughing because it was the stupidest thing for them to put that warning on. Let's see. Okay, let me switch over here. I'll do some headlines. I'll call it an evening. Let's see. All right, starting out from stuff I shared out this morning. Like I say, it was kind of an active day. Hey, let me have a sip of coffee. I try to get far away from the mic that you don't hear me slurp. Pardon me if you do. But I don't know when I hear me slurp if I'm hearing it through the headphones or through... But I'll tell you what, I don't out-slurp Blue. So, just saying. She's sleeping for the moment. That's a rare occasion during the show. She's normally glaring at me or making obscene noises. Let's see. Okay. From this morning, judge temporarily blocks December vax mandate for Chicago police, says unions must negotiate rule with the city. So this is interesting, and I'm interested, absolutely interested, to see how that pans out. So we'll see. I have a feeling there's going to be different things happen, and with different results across the nation. Philadelphia bans low-level traffic stops over concerns they disproportionately target black drivers. And I would say, and I'm not going to dispute that at all, but I would say I would actually go further and say, that it targets economically disadvantaged people more than anything. Because they like to pull over the hoopties. And just because you drive a hoopty doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Good people drive hoopties, yo. And I really do think they do need to stop. That, to me, it goes beyond what they're there to do. To pull somebody over for any type of violation that they aren't, creating a danger for, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Window tints too dark. Absolute stupidity. Let's see. California judge says no evidence Big Pharma at fault for America's opioid epidemic. A wheelchair-bound Israeli minister misses out on COP26 climate summit as British organizers fail to provide proper transportation. I thought that was a pretty stunning headline for multiple reasons. For multiple reasons. Not only did they fail to provide her with proper transportation, before she needed it, but they couldn't pull together the resources to do it at the time? That's kind of piss poor. Oh, yeah, that's right. It is a global thing. Britain wants to de-escalate fishing row with France, says Environment Minister, as Paris releases detained trawler. Knife-wielding attacker shot by Paris railway security after shouting, "France is ruled by the Islamic State," media reports. OPEC oil production slows, paving way to price hikes at the pump. And there's more headlines involving this. Multiple explosions near military hospital in Kabul as gunfire heard across Afghan capital, 19 dead. Apple gets hit with chip shortage, starts cannibalizing iPads, says reports. Did a video on that earlier. Let's see. Sputnik 5 COVID vaccine registration is priority, and EU is working hard to get it recognized, says Italy's ambassador to Russia. Poland says EU blackmail hampers its own climate goals. Squid Game crypto token plunges to $0 as creators steal millions from investors in obvious scam. UK exams must avoid offensive and complex language and negative stereotypes to help disadvantaged students, a watchdog says. 2 Metropolitan Police officers plead guilty to misconduct over sharing photos of murdered sisters on WhatsApp. U.S. men increasingly drawn to pornography and video games due to attacks on masculinity, a senator claims. And I sat and thought about that for a few moments today. And, I don't know. I think it's fringe. I think it's kind of a fringe thing. I don't think that's the direct thing. I think that there's a lot more evil in people's hearts today. And I think that's why you see the increase in pornography. I think it's a pretty simple thing. There's a lot of evil in a lot of people's hearts today. And I'm not saying that all of you are, not whatsoever. But the porn industry is huge. I mean, huge. And somebody's got to be paying all that money for it. So, I'm just saying. I don't think that attacks on masculinity have really caused a whole lot of that. And as far as video games, I don't know. That could be an organic interest. It really could. Because, it is kind of a cool thing. When I was, younger, was kind of the beginning of the more advanced video games. And I'm talking like Sega Genesis and, the first PlayStation, so don't laugh too hard. The Sega CD, I can remember that was a big deal. And that's nothing compared to today. And we enjoyed the hell out of that when I was younger. Even me, and I'm not a gamer. In fact, I kind of, most of them are absolutely no interest to me. Battlefield is kind of cool once in a while. I enjoy going in, getting my face shot off, but I haven't done it in a long time. It's kind of like, it's one of those things that's better to do with people that you're in communication with, and it just makes it much more enjoyable. But, I don't think that is due to any attack on masculinity. I think more than anything, that's just organic. I think it's something that interests people, and I think it's like just about anything else. There are people that don't have the self-discipline to keep it in moderation. So, and again, it all kind of goes back to the, I don't know, can we say the failure of men's hearts? I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, I think. Let's see. Rogue U.S. must give guarantees on nuclear deal, says Iranian FM spokesperson, as Ted Cruz blasts Biden's pledge. Russia could sell advanced S-500 anti-aircraft missile launcher to China and India, which I already thought they were having talks with about. Moscow reveals despite potential U.S. objections. I don't think the United States has a whole hell of a lot they can say about it. I mean, Last I checked, we weren't their boss. Yep. And wasn't I just saying this the other day about them selling those? In fact, I did. I know I'm an ass. Yahoo pulls out of China amid challenging environment. 3 Russian men arrested on suspicion of selling confidential information on Darknet to opposition figure Navalny, says the media. Turkey arrests 43 people allegedly connected to self-exiled cleric Gulen, who Ankara says masterminded botched 2016 coup. Moscow's unusual radiation fog explained. I have no idea. I didn't read the article. Coercion is not consent. Aussie sports star and registered nurse defends stance against experimental COVID vaccine. Beijing slams lack of answers after U.S. claims nuclear submarine hit uncharted seamount in Indo-Pacific. And Beijing, if you get an answer on that, find out where in the hell they've got my F-15 and my nukes. Because I'm waiting for Biden to deliver, damn it. Let's see. I got huffed. I got huffed for that, just so you know. It's a tough crowd. Tesla could lose $300 billion after Musk's itchy Twitter finger strikes again. Dog's a trip. COVID test makers forced to withdraw systems from market after UK implements new review process. A Monty Python icon Terry Gilliam has new stage production canceled after staff uproar over transphobic views. Russia joins COP26 agreement to end deforestation as Putin dubs conversation a key component of battling climate change. Yeah. When I think of that, for some reason I've just got one demented thought in my head, and I've got to let it out, because if I don't, it's going to fester and eat me alive. So amid all this talk about climate change, when are we going to start talking about our president's diaper changes? Sorry. I can continue now. Top Russian security... I'm going to get huffed for that one too, I know it. Top Russian security chief met with CIA Director Burns amid worsening relations. Eco-warriors from Insulate Britain blocked Birmingham city centre and Key Road near Manchester Airport as members descend on M25. Bahrain tells its citizens to leave Lebanon immediately after Minister Yemen comments anger Gulf states. YouTube account of Belarus Investigative Committee blocked, a spokeswoman reveals. Archbishop of Canterbury apologizes to Jews after comparing climate change to Nazi genocide. Kremlin responds to claims Russian troops are massing on the border with Ukraine. Russia reveals size of growing drone army. Airbnb cracks down on disruptive New Year's Eve parties with ban on single-night New Year's Eve bookings. Abortion law protesters back on the streets of Poland after young woman denied termination denies. Let's see. Minneapolis votes on replacing police with peace officers. MPs told to wear face masks in Parliament due to increases in COVID after criticism over hypocritical guidance to public. I'm going to have to look into, what exactly all that entails, because that may not be a bad thing. Let's see. China tells families to hoard food for winter amid supply fears. Apple's crash detection will dial 911 when it thinks you're in an accident, says reports. Will it also detect when the president has an accident? Asking for a country. Chinese tech giant applies for Meta trademark right after Facebook changes name. Sorry, I can't resist. Facebook shutting down controversial face recognition program, vows to delete over 1 billion templates. And if you believe that, man, I've got some bridges for sale. I've got some grade A marshland that you just can't go without a couple 100 acres. I mean, I'll sell it cheap. $1,000 an acre. You don't need a deed. Don't need to worry about none of that kind of stuff. Bank of America sees $120 oil by June 2022. That does not sound good. Rage over bisexual Superman sees illustrators and producers call for police protection. Wow. And I don't know. I don't know how hyped up that is. I would imagine it's probably fairly hyped up, if not completely hyped up. But if it isn't, I'm telling you, people are tired of keeping their mouths shut. And I think people are about done keeping their mouths shut. And I think that people would have been fine. People would have been okay if it wasn't continuously, every single day, almost every moment of every single day, being pushed in the faces and rubbed into the faces of everybody. And I think there's a very large majority that's sitting there like, look, we get the point. Leave me alone with it. And it just doesn't stop. Now, I'm not saying that I support violence against, illustrators and producers, But I am saying that there's a point in time when people have to understand that they're pushing a little too far, a little too hard. And if they, who's accountable? If you keep poking somebody and they tell you to stop, and you keep poking them, and they dot you in the eye, who's accountable? I mean, maybe they should leave well enough alone for a while. Americans defy media narrative, cite Democrats as bigger threat to U.S. democracy, a poll shows. Illinois prisoner wrestles gun from officer's holster before shot by deputy. I'll tell you what, that officer's lucky to be alive. I watched that video actually yesterday. I think it was like last night or something. I watched the video. And that officer's lucky to be alive. The only reason why that officer hasn't got several bullet holes in him is because that prisoner didn't want to put several bullet holes in him. Because he certainly had the chance. Because there was a moment that they were both standing there, He definitely had the officer, officer couldn't do nothing. And then another officer came through the doorway you see on the right of that image, this doorway here. Another officer came through. And he was over here. The suspect was over here, so he likely did not see the other officer coming. But that officer's lucky, I'm telling you. And so is the suspect. Lucky that he's alive. Let's see. Ethiopia declares emergency over Tigray rebels advancing towards capital as U.S. strongly urges its citizens to leave the country. Microsoft launches metaverse rival, stalking out uncanny valley territory before Facebook can build its own reality. I find that very intriguing and concerning at the same time. Man, we need to maybe just kind of sit tight before we take all this stuff to the next level. You know what I mean? I think I think a lot of this social media stuff, I think this interaction type of stuff, I think we need to kind of hold off before we go too crazy with it, because it's not having a good effect on people as it is. And there's plenty of studies and stuff you can read on what I'm saying. We might want to be careful. Talked about this, about the COVID shot for kids 5 to 11. With Darknet flooded with fake vaccination certificates, Kaspersky Labs says it knows one solution. And I didn't read the article, so I can't tell you what that is. Let's see. Skin color of Kyle Rittenhouse's jury triggers Twitter. Well, too bad. Here's the thing, right? So apparently, on this jury, there's only one person of color on the jury. And that's what they're all at an uproar about. But the thing I don't understand is none of the people that Kyle Rittenhouse shot that night were people of color. So why is that even a point? Is that not trying to create racism in a trial? Saying, oh, well, there's not enough people of color. Well, why would you want people of color? What's that have to do with this? What's that have to do with any part of this trial? That's how ridiculous it's gotten. I would say keep an eye on this. I think this is going to be a very interesting case play out. U.S. a long way off from democracy or freedom, Ron Paul tells RT. Netherlands reintroduces face masks and other restrictions as COVID-19 cases surge. Southwest pilot placed on leave could face charges after alleged assault on flight attendant during dispute over masks. U.S. gives final clearance for COVID-19 shots for kids aged 5 to 11. We talked about that. Syria claims Israel targeted area outside Damascus in missile strike resulting in material losses, says state media. Decision Desk headquarters projects Republican Glenn Youngkin to win Virginia election as CBS says race leans Republican. And I would say that regardless, they still win. We don't. And this is just coming out here. Fairfax County to miss own reporting deadline as conservatives allege foul play. So I'm sure there's going to be much to do about foul play. So, again, keep an eye on this stuff. And try once in a while to remind yourself to slow down and take a few steps back and look at that big picture again. Readjust that OODA loop. That way you don't get snucked up on. I think we got a whole lot coming at us. I think we got a whole lot coming over the period of the next couple of weeks, and I think over the period of the next year, 2 years, I see a slide that civilization won't ever forget. Or at least our current one. We'll never forget. Interesting things lining up, folks. And again, I just when I look at the good book and I look at what's happening and see I mean, it's all laid out. Very interesting times. Anyway, I am going to get off of here. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. Keep your eyes open. Be prepared. Be prepared. I would say be a little more ready than normal right now. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. I hope y'all have a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow, and I'll see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit. Shalom.